Good evening. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to the first ever episode of Pro Musician's Life. I'm Marc Seal. I host a show called The Ultimate Guitar Show for all the bass people out there that are friends with Steve Araujo. We got a great show for you tonight. I want to introduce you to my cohort in crime here. We have with us Mr. Steve Araujo.
What's going on, guys? How you doing? Stoked to be here. I'm so excited. This is rad. We've been talking about this and kind of getting ready, and here we are live, ready to talk gear and music.
It's kind of awesome, you guys. We put together this room. If you can look around, it's just guitars, cables, amplifiers, basses, guitars, and computer gear. And we're going to create this new series of events. We're going to continue doing this for a while, building up a lot of content. And a lot of the content we've been talking about, we wanted to kind of bring to guitar players, enthusiasts, bass players, what it's like to be a pro musician. And that means not a rock star. You see plenty of videos where there's concert footage and there's all the behind the scenes and the mayhem. There's also a lot of amateur videos out there, people just playing guitar in their room, one camera, shooting cool videos, and it's all good. All of that is great. But there's not a lot of content kind of showcasing what guys that work in the industry do. So a big part of the show will be gigs that we do. And tonight on the show, we're going to feature a gig that I did a while back at Paramount Movie Studios. And we'll feature a bunch of content kind of behind the scenes of pro working musicians, from gear reviews to lessons to the gigs that we do, and then ultimately creating this awesome community.
To Spinal Tap-ish stories from gigs.
Yes, every gig has plenty of those.
Every gig does. But yeah, we wanted to create this community for sure with guitar players and bass players, because it's just,
it's a symbiotic relationship, just like you and I have in a friendship.
Absolutely, man, and it should, and that's the way it should be. And especially talking gear. I mean, I'm one of the biggest gear nerds, as you are, and it's rad to just talk gear and what you're using, and especially using it on gigs. That's really important. Is how does it function? It has to function. It can't just be beautiful and art. It has to actually function and work.
That's absolutely true. There's no question about that. So what's going to happen tonight, we're going to show you a couple of videos. We're going to talk about, I just got a new Mesa Boogie Mark V 25 literally 4 or 5 days ago, and I barely had too much time to play with it, but it sounds incredible. I'm super happy with it. And then the cabinet showed up today. It was running not behind schedule, but behind the amp. And Steve's got a new amp that he's going to showcase for us tonight as well. So we're going to talk a little bit of gear. We have a couple of cool stories about a guitar I found while I was touring last year doing road shows, and about a bass that Steve has that his uncle had. What year is it? What is it?
It's a 1973 jazz bass. I'll just kind of show it real quick.
Little teaser.
And Christmas time, 2014, December 2014, he said that he had this bass under his, in a case that he hadn't played in forever. So, that really, whenever you hear that, right. And it's like, what kind of bass? It's a Fender of some sort. Like, and then things lit up. And anyway, so it has a really cool story, which we'll get into in a little bit. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, a little bit of house cleaning up front. We have the chat here. Can you guys just say hello via chat? We're trying to really test everything out to see what's working, what's not working. So if you can test the chat out, I'm going to have Steve man the booth on that for a second.
Yes.
And when you're testing the chat, just say hello. And during the show at any time, if you have questions, comments, things that you'd like to see on future shows, all of that stuff creates very much a conversation for us. And the conversation that we want to have with you is really, we want to feel like we're all together hanging out and geeking out about, music and guitars and all that good stuff. So if you can, that would be awesome. Also, if you want to use your real name and first name on there, that would be cool. And if you also want to tell people about what we're doing, moving forward, we're going to have promusicianslife.com. It's already up. It's not quite populated yet, but the link and the website's there. Obviously, all the social medias. We've got Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Am I missing anything?
No,
he's social mediaing right now as we speak.
I'm kind of doing it. So Pro Musicians Life, if you just look that up for Instagram, that's what it is, Pro Musicians Life. And then on Twitter, we are Pro Musicians Life, and I think it's at Musicians Pro.
We'll post all that stuff.
Yeah, we'll post all of it.
Let's move this over just a little bit that way so you can see what's going on.
Oh, anonymous, somebody said hi. So cool. All right, there we go.
Who is it that said hi? Give us your first name. All right. So tonight we're going to start with inspiration. I think one thing that we all have in common as musicians, and this goes for drummers too. We'll include drummers in the conversation. Okay, so
wait, does it include keyboard players?
Keyboard players are totally musicians. It's drummers that usually get a little bit the bad rap.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is we like to buy equipment. We like to buy gear, try gear. We trade with friends. We sell and buy, and it's never ending, as we all know. So last year I was on the road. I was in Colorado Springs, and I was doing some roadshow tours for Taylor Guitars. And I'm around beautiful guitars day in and day out. And I found this guitar that I had played back in 2011. And I remember playing on the road, and I loved it. It was this 12th fret, grand concert, small body cutaway, and it featured Macassar ebony wood on the back and sides, had Co on it, which I'm going to show all of you this in just a minute. But it had all these great features, and I sat down, and I hadn't seen it in forever. I sit in the shop, and there's one sitting there used. So I pick it up, and I start strumming, like, holy smokes. Wow. One of the guys I was with, Eric Sakimoto, who I'm traveling with actually next week, he had to go into a meeting for about a little over an hour. And I just sat, I said, I'm going to hang back and just play this guitar. So I sat and played it for an hour, fell in love with it. Wow. And the story was a little bit sad. The story behind it was there was this guy that apparently had bought 15 or 20 really high-end custom guitars, and somehow he had passed away, and his spouse had brought them all to this shop and said, look, I need to get rid of these. And the owner says, well, look, I'll take care of them. I can't give you top price for them if I buy all of them, but you'll at least sell them all in one place, or you can piece them off and probably make more money. So at the end of the day, the lady's like, look, I just want to get rid of them. I don't know how to deal with this stuff. And so he bought them all back. And so I fell in love with it. And I said, hey, look, can I score this guitar? What would you do out the door? He said, well, can you carry it home? I said, yeah, I can take it on the plane with me tomorrow. And he says, okay, no shipping. I said, great. So you're from California, right? I said, yeah. He's all, okay, no sales tax. I'm like, great. Can you pay cash? I said, well, I can send you a check next week. He's like, all right. So he gives me this rock bottom number. I can't even tell you what it is, but it was silly. I would say, without question, the best deal I've ever got on a guitar. So the guitar, it is one of 60 in the world. It was a spring limited from 2011, and I think they actually made 59 of them, to be exact.
Yeah, let's see it.
I'm going to show you the guitar. This is my Macassar ebony. It's my single favorite acoustic guitar I have ever owned in my life. So first off, you can see it's got a cedar top with this beautiful burst on it. It's Macassar ebony back and side. That's actually the wood that you're looking at. There's nothing to that other than gloss finish on it, with a koa stripe down the back. The back has a back strap that matches. It's got the slotted peg head, 12th fret, no dots on the fingerboard. Let me get a close-up so you guys can see what's going on over here. So here, you can see the cedar top. And there you got the Macassar on the back and side. You can see, if I go close, you can see that mini koa wedge down the middle. Photobomb. And koa binding on the side, the fingerboard, no inlays. Love that. Super big fan. Abalone rosette. The back strap, I talked in the back of the guitar. It's got a veneer of Macassar that matches the back and sides of the guitar. Just an incredible guitar. And with the grand concerts at Taylor, it's a much smaller instrument. It's our narrowest. Let me go to the wide shot here. It's our narrowest, shallowest body. Our shortest scale length from nut to saddle is 24 7/8. Wow. So super comfortable to play. And the fact that the guitar is joined at the 12th fret then gives us this really just intimate. This is the guitar you sit and you write your hits on because you're sitting on a couch at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's just comfortable. But couple that with the way it sounds. It's got a very warm, rich sound to it, very balanced output. And realize you're hearing it just through this mic, which leads us to our next thing. How are we going to do the next show?
So the next show, we are really going to have all the instruments, everything going direct. So you'll be able to hear the sound of the instruments mic'd up, or basically going direct. And then our vocals will be going through a microphone. So that's our next thing. But for right now, we are just going through a microphone. So if you hit up if we're playing anything that has a higher sound pressure level, it might not sound the best, but we promise we will definitely have it a lot better next time for sure. But that guitar sounds beautiful. And I have a question for you on these guitars.
What do we got?
So usually, this here is the way that's constructed is usually for classical guitars. Cool. So what's the thinking with a steel string guitar in that?
Okay. So this is called a slotted peg head. Okay. And normally we have what's called a paddle peg head.
Yeah.
The slotted, it's kind of a throwback to the early parlor guitars, pre-40s, 30s. It's kind of a hip way they used to build guitars a long time ago.
Cool.
And effectively, what was really cool a few years back during the 35th anniversary, Bob and Kurt at Taylor Guitars, they decided they wanted to do something a little more retro, and they did
cool.
a bunch of guitars where they made 35 of each model of these unique guitars. They did an 8-string baritone.
Okay.
In fact, I think they did a 9-string baritone at
Wow.
one point. And we did 12 frets. That's the first time we reintroduced 12 frets. The slotted peg and all those things. In fact, side note, on a future episode, I bought one of the 35th anniversary 12th fret guitars. It's all master grade Koa, Engelmann spruce top, no cutaway. We'll talk about that in another episode. Very similar to this guitar without the cutaway and with different wood combinations. But they're just amazing guitars. And since I started playing these smaller body guitars, I just find they're just so ridiculously comfortable and easy to play with such a great warm sound. And as
They
you know
project.
from playing with you live, how does it sound live? You know, we just did a concert, a month ago at the Coach House, and we were playing. I had this guitar plugged in, and it just filled the room, and I had some really nice compliments.
It definitely has this projection and this warmth, but it's a little loud guitar. It's cool. Yeah. It's great. What's the pickup system?
It plays well with others.
What's the pickup system?
The pickup system we have it's called the ES2,
It's
which
Taylor,
is Expression
Taylor's
System 2.
thing.
It's Taylor's. It's, in my opinion, I really believe this, not because I work with Taylor at all. I worked with Taylor because I played their guitars before I ever worked with them. So I want to get that out there. I was a big fan before I ever did anything for them. But I genuinely believe it's the best onboard electronics. So it's kind of cool. So is the chat working out there? You guys say hello?
Yeah, look, somebody said hello, Mark. Anonymous 42521. Hello,
Hello,
Mark.
Anonymous 425. It's like Sleeper.
So I'm actually asking questions like a geek. So I hope that's okay. So that's what I do. I'm like, what does that have? So that's just me. That's just how we're gear geeks.
We really are. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, maybe a little bit later in the show, I'm going to play a riff for you guys on this guitar. And what we're going to do with that is I'm going to make a quick teaching video after the show in the next few days and a tablature to go along with it. So part of the show, you're going to get to have free guitar lessons and learn cool new things. So I'll play a little bit later on the show what I'm going to teach you this week, and that'll give you a reason to come back and stay tuned.
Thing's awesome, man. Thing's beautiful.
So
applause.
Yeah, right?
Yay.
Golf clap. All right, so we have a variety of different places we can go. Do you want to do your bass story? Do you have something?
All Guitar Girl says, hi, guys.
Hey, Allie, how are you? Nice to see you.
Or Allie, sorry.
Allie, Guitar Girl.
Yes.
Rebecca and Allie, nice to see you guys. Nice. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, this is
Let us know how the quality is, because I'm really curious. When I switch cameras, is everything working well, and can you hear our voices well and all that good stuff? This is super fun. I did a lot of these shows years back. I did 2 years every Friday night, and we kind of developed this big group of people that all hung out and talk shop. So we're going to find ways for you guys to be able to communicate and get to know each other as well. So we're going to go to Steve. Steve, question for you, my man. Tell us a story about the bass you're going to show us here.
So Christmas time, December 2014, at a family get-together, and my uncle and I were talking, as I said, and he said, hey, you might be interested in a bass that I have laying around that hasn't been played in a long time. It's a Fender. And I just kind of freaked out. And I said, yes, definitely. So January 1st of 2015, I literally went to his place, checked it out, and it was this. Now, it was not in this shape. This is, it needed a little love. Basically, it was in a case in the video that we're talking that I did, I say 25 years, but when I was talking to my uncle, it's probably closer to 30 years, which is insane. I mean, still 25 years.
You talking about the strings that were on it?
So, yeah. So, basically, the bass had not been played for 25 plus years. It had an original set of Roto Sound strings.
Gosh, remember those? That's crazy.
Crazy. Like some of the earliest made, electric bass strings. So, swing bass Roto Sounds. It also had an original, which I'll talk about, an original Badass 1 bridge, which the original Badasses were made...
I need you to watch your language.
I know, I'm sorry.
That's actually what it was
bad
called.
Beep! A bad beep!
Right,
They're called Badass Bridges. Leo Kwan.
They're awesome. They're so cool.
Huge. So the first inception were basically made for Gibson basses, which Gibson basses had a higher profile bridge. So what you had to do, either two things before they made the Badass 2. You had to totally route the body to countersink it, or you had to basically on the bridge saddles, you had to grind them down so that it was actually playable. So thankfully, it was the second. It was they ground it down. They didn't route the body. So the bridge pickup was not working. My friend Howard Elliott, actually you know Howard Elliott from Elliott Pickups, rewound the pickup. The bobbins, the flatwares, everything's original except it's rewound to 1973 spec. So it's a 1973 Fender Jazz bass. They did a lot of things in the 70s that were different. They did the pickup spacing, 4 inches instead of 3.6 inches, so it's closer to the bridge. So it has a lot more mid-range. It's a very, it's kind of a sought-after sound. I mean, if you know, Marcus Miller is one of the most famous guys.
I was going to ask, is it all the Jocko market?
No,
not
no.
So
Jocko was 60s, yeah, but it was, Marcus kind of put it on the map. And it has a different tone. And I have 60s style jazz basses also. They sound different. What else? So yeah, it needed some love. And it's one of the other thing, in the 70s, I think 74 on, they started going to the 3 bolt neck plate. And they started doing the adjuster on the by the headstock, little truss rod adjuster. This was still like the old style, wow, which is better, in my opinion. I think it's better, and a lot of people will agree. 4-bolt, and the truss rod adjustment is down here. So, anyways, yeah, I did a little video. So in the video, let me say this: that I say Happy New Year because it was literally on January 1st of 2015. That morning, I had picked up the bass, and I went home and I said, I'm going to record and do a video of this bass being played for the first time in over 25 years. It had the original Rotosound strings. It had the original badass 1 bridge, and it was set up so bad, the electronics, but I wanted to document it.
What kind of bridge was it?
So it was you just want me to say it, a badass 1. Right. And I'll explain this one. But hopefully you'll kind of dig the video, and I have another quick little thing afterwards. So enjoy.
Check this out. Right. And feel free to chat.
Yeah, chat. Ask us. Hey guys, Happy New Year. Steve Araujo here with the Bass Hang, and I'm bringing you a very quick, kind of special little video. I actually recently, literally just yesterday, got my hands on this bass. It is a 1973 Fender Jazz bass. Everything is original on it, except for Badass Bridge. That is probably one of the earliest Badass Bridges that I've ever seen. Basically, I got it from the second owner of the bass, who actually had it in a closet for over 25 years. So literally, I'm probably the first person to play this bass in over 25 years, which is kind of cool. And it also has strings that were put on probably 25 years ago. They're Rotosounds. So if you ever wondered what Rotosounds that are 25 years or strings that are 25 years old sound like, you're going to hear it. So, or you heard it at the beginning. But it is a pretty incredible bass. It does have some things that need to be tweaked. I need to make sure that all the wiring is correct on it. But like I said, everything is 1973. They're CTS pots. There will be a more thorough video, but I just wanted to kind of make a quick video to, document me actually taking the bass and being one of the first people to play it in over 25 years. The other mod, it has a string tree that was put in between the E and the A string. So obviously unnecessary, but done a long time ago. But it is a pretty incredible bass. As you can see, the neck plate is the 4-bolt neck plate, and truss rod adjustment is made at the bottom of the fingerboard. So yeah, pretty incredible rad 70s jazz bass. 73. So like I said, when I get it up and running all nice with new strings, you'll be able to hear it. But I just wanted to do a quick video to show you what a bass sounded like that hadn't been played in over 25 years, and with some old strings. So that's about it. Happy New Year. See ya. Bye. All right, so we have to be that. I hope you kind of enjoy. I hope you enjoyed it, because this bass it's such a special bass, and I don't know if Mark agrees, but you may. Well, actually, I think you will, because of that guitar. I think some instruments kind of fall in your hands because they're supposed to, and they belong in your hands, and you're supposed to have these instruments, and that's kind of how I feel about this bass, and I feel very, very lucky to have this instrument. It's really rad. So the strings that were being played, I post on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. I have a number of followers. Somebody reached out and actually literally wanted the strings. He wanted to buy them, and I was like, no, just cover cost, shipping costs. So I shipped them back to him, and one of the strings couldn't be put on. One of them broke, he told me, but he was so stoked that he had these super old Roto
30-year-old Roto sound.
30-year-old,
awesome.
25-year-old Roto sound. So just a special bass. So I'm glad I was able to share that with you guys. It was very cool. So, yeah.
What's interesting, you totally jogged a memory. After I bought that guitar, this is kind of just a quick side note, but really cool, is after I bought the guitar, I sent some emails out to the guys at Taylor and said, hey, I gave them the serial number. Turn the volume off on that.
Yep.
I just hit the mute button.
I have to do it with two hands, sorry.
No, just the mute. There you go.
I have to do that.
So I sent some emails out to the guys at Taylor. I said, hey, can you find out with the serial number, can I get the build sheet? And the build sheet tells you everything about the guitar. And one of the coolest things, I think I told you, I can't remember if I did or not, but I get the build sheet in, I'm reading it all down. It's got, it's the all the stuff, the Koa, the Macassar, blah, blah, blah. I'm reading down. It's like completion date, March 20th. It was my birthday. It was signed off on my birthday. And so it's one of those guitars. I knew it was supposed to be mine. That was kind of the moment that really solidified that for me.
Yeah.
And
I'm a believer about that. There's a couple of basses
You're
that
a Justin believer?
No.
Oh,
really?
You scared me with that. I think you're a believer.
People are
going
to say don't ever refer to the Beebs.
Let's
on
not.
This.
All right.
But anyways, all right.
You got the job. Okay, so at the end of the day, it's about the musicians and the musical instruments. And when you get the right one in your hands, it's such a inspirational thing. I think we can all agree with that. So moving forward, I want to tell you guys part of what we're going to do on the show, and this is something that Steve and I got really stoked about, because again, we drive to a lot of places, we fly, we do touring, whatever it is. Yeah. We're out in the world and we meet all kinds of cool people. And so one of the things we want to do is take you behind the scenes as to what it's like to go do a particular gig. And I have a pile of these videos. Steve has a bunch of these videos. We call it our lifestyle segment. And the lifestyle segment is pretty much, this is what we do as musicians. So I'm going to run a video, show you this gig I did. I got a call from Taylor a few years ago to go up to Paramount Movie Studios and do this video. And this video was, I didn't know what I was supposed to do other than say, can you play the Star Spangled Banner? I said, sure. And that was kind of all I knew until I got up there, did sound check the whole thing, and it all unwound. It was it's crazy.
That's
gig.
So rad.
Super fun. So I'm going to run that video for you guys.
Cool.
This is me at the Paramount Movie Studios, and check us out. Hope you enjoy it. I'm on my way up to go to Hollywood, California, to the Paramount Movie Studios, where I'll be playing the Star Spangled Banner for the Billabong Design for Humanity event. So I thought I'd take you along. So let's check it out. Design for Humanity is an annual event where Billabong and VH1 team up to raise money for the Save the Music Foundation. This year, they rented out the entire New York City set at Paramount Movie Studios and turned it into a massive party for over 4,000 people. Everywhere you looked, there was music being played, art, great food and drinks, all capped off by a fashion show and concert. Here is where I came in. The gig? I was to start the evening by playing the Star Spangled Banner from a fire escape 20 feet off the ground and really freaking loud. I drove up that beautiful spring day and arrived early for a 3 o'clock sound check. I walked around for a bit, took in the scenery, took a few pics, and then got to work. Soon it was time for sound check. After sound check, they queued up the video, lined up the models, and we did a full dress rehearsal.
Stand by. And let go.
After the rehearsal, Shane Rochlin and I cruised around and took in the festivities. It was excellent people watching. I even hit the red carpet. Finally, it was showtime. With 4,000 people under my feet, I was ready to rock our national anthem. Terrified but excited, here is how it went down. Enjoy.
I can't compete with that. That's the best thing ever. That is so rad.
I don't know about
oh
that.
my gosh.
I guess it would not.
Yeah, come
That was
on.
so fun. That was a fun
insane.
gig. That was a super
so
fun
cool.
gig.
You kidding me?
But think how many gigs have you done like that where you show up and it exceeds expectations? You're like, well, I didn't know I was going to get to do this. I mean, it's been, that's
Yeah.
part of doing the whole gig, right?
Yeah. Well, how many gigs do you get to where the description is the description? You never know. It always changes, different keys, different things. So yeah, it's very, very cool, man. That was amazing.
Thanks,
That was
man.
awesome. Thank you for sharing. All right.
All right, cool, man. Bromance.
There we go.
All right, Steve,
Yes.
I'm going to turn it over to you. I want you to talk to us about this cool new bass thing you got. Let me click your camera.
So, Form Factor Audio. I've been using their bass cabinets for a really long time. They believe one of their parent companies, is they do these big line array. I mean, they are a full sound reinforcement company. I mean, they know sound. Their cabinets are just amazing. I have a couple of them, and I've been trying different ones, and they just a little 210 cabinet, little ceramic, not Neo, but the ceramic speaker cabinet, a 210, rivals a 410 cabinet, which just blows me away. It's just amazing. So great cabinets, and they've been really wanting to come out with a head. They've been saying they're going to come out with an amp head for a long time, and finally they did at this NAMM show, which is just great. Now, the amp that I have right now is their BI, or their BI 400, which you can see a picture of right now, right here. They are not in complete production yet. I believe they are still kind of a prototype, but as you can see, it's super well thought out, and all I can say is that this thing is punchy. They say it's a 400 watt head, but when I'm talking to them, or when I was talking to them, it exceeds 400 watts at the peak. It really does. They also make a 1,000 watt head, which is just, I've heard that one too, and it's just amazing. It's super punchy. As you can see on the front, it's very well thought out. It has a mute button, which is great, which is a global mute, mutes your front of house. It has a limiter built in, so in case, it is a high powered head. If you're hitting some high transients and some heavy volumes and some big volumes, you want to protect your speaker, that will definitely help you out. The EQ section is really killer. Seldom do you get something where you actually cut some frequencies and it still sounds big and fat. So I'm really excited for this head. Like this 400 watt head, it is a Class D. It is a digital amp. Weighs maybe around 6 pounds, and the 1,000 watt head maybe weighs around 7 or 8 pounds.
Can you actually pick it up?
No. I think you can with your guns.
Should I rock the gun show and show them how light this thing is?
Yeah. Now, the nice thing is, so a lot of these Class D amplifiers are lighter than this, but the thing that kind of gets me when you're getting super, super light is that it moves around too much almost. I mean, it really, honestly, you're sitting...
Especially for a bass cabinet, it's rumbling along.
You're sitting on a bass cabinet and it's just vibrating. It's crazy, the low end, that sound pressure level. So this actually, it stays put, it feels substantial, and you can sit there and adjust the levels accordingly without pushing the actual head, which I've had too. Sometimes I want to make an adjustment, it's so light, it moves. So
can we hear it?
Yeah.
I don't know how good this will sound through the mic. Let's take a listen, man.
So I'm just going to unmute it, and this is flat. And again, this is my jazz bass, so I hope we're not distorting.
Yeah, we're all right.
I mean, it's so low right now. It's super.
Okay,
super
seriously,
low.
the reality, you guys, it sounds so sick in here. It's amazing. And that volume, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's just nice. It's full, it's punchy, and when it's turned up, I mean, I like it because you really feel it in your chest, which is nice. I mean, you just get that punch.
It sounds like it's moving air even at low volume.
Yeah.
That's hard to do.
And this is just a 112 cabinet. This is the Neo cabinet, the lighter weight cabinet, which I am kind of not into Neo cabinets.
What does that mean?
Neodymium it's basically they're lighter weight. They're made of neodymium. Again, I'm not a speaker builder, so I don't know the exact stuff, but it's a lighter cabinet, and sometimes they don't sound as big and full, and this does. And there's a couple of manufacturers out there that are actually doing really good Neo cabinets, and then there's some out there that I kind of don't dig. So this one's good. I'm gonna actually do a full-blown test with it and demo and sound demo and everything because I'm excited about it. It's really good, and they're a good company. It's nice to have a company that makes great speaker cabinets make a great amplifier also. So you'll see more of it, but I'm excited about that. Again, it's form factor, the BI 400 or BI 400, and they make the BI 1000 also. And
you know what I'm realizing right now though is as we're talking about this stuff. Something we'll do after the shows is we go back, we watch the videos, figure out what works, what doesn't work, and take your suggestions because we're going to feature stuff you guys want. You can let us know what kind of stuff you want to see on the show, the segments you like, the segments you don't like. This is not something we're doing once. This is something we want to build up over for a long time to come and build a lot of content. So let us know what you like, what you don't like. But what we do need to do, and I just realized this, is we need to have a place to post our show notes after the fact, meaning links to the products we talked about, our emails, all those types of things. And I'll tell you real quick, my email is easy. It's just my name, Marc Seal, MarcSeal, all one word, at marcseal.com. Super narcissistic, I realize, but it works. So Marc Seal at marcseal.com. What's yours?
I'm just going to give my personal one right now.
Sure.
It's CaesarSteve@gmail.com, and that's CAESAR, and then Steve, STEVE, @gmail.com.
Perfect.
Yeah. You can,
so if you have questions, comments, or whatever, you can totally hit us up on that.
The Axe effects. Somebody actually asked about the Axe effects, so we said we'd hit on that.
So the Axe Effects, people know that I use the Axe Effects for some time, and the Axe Effects is a digital modeling. I'm going to go to camera one haven't been here for a while. Hey. The Axe Effects is something I truly believe in. I love that piece of gear. It basically, it lets me plug directly into the studio console if I'm recording in Logic. I can go direct into a PA system. And it sounds fantastic. It's got all the amp modeling that I need, all the effects that I need. So, Mesa Boogie is also one of my companies that I'm sponsored by. I love Mesa. They're good guys up there. They make an incredible product. And there's just, sometimes the direct thing is fantastic. I really think Axe Effects does a great job. In the studio particularly, I can dial in some incredible sounds. When I'm playing live, there's something about having a tube amp on stage with you. It might be psychosomatic. I don't think it is. I think there's just something, there's a feel, there's something that's just a little special. So what the ultimate combination for me is, and when I do my bigger concerts, the main thing I always go for is I try to use a tube amplifier with the Axe Effects, because the Axe effects themselves are fantastic. So my new rig will consist of my new Mark 525, which you saw here on set, with the 112 cabinet. It's a mini recto cab. I'll be running that with the Axe Effects, every effect on the Axe Effects, from wah pedal through all my delays, my choruses, verbs, phasers, tremolos, all that stuff works fantastic. And because there's an effects loop on the Mark 525 and an effects loop obviously in the Axe Effects, I can use the 4-cable method, which means I can put my phasers, choruses, all my modulation effects, including wah pedal, compressors, before the preamp, but I can put all of my time-based effects, i.e. delays, reverbs, things like that, after the preamp. So it's an incredible combination. I'm really excited about it. And I've been using the Mark V this week with my Boss GT100, which a lot of you guys that know me from Taylor Road shows. I take the GT100 on the road. It's a Boss product, reasonably priced. It's got all the basic effects in it. What's cool about that is it fits between a couple of pair of jeans in my suitcase, and so I can get around with that. I've got my volume pedal and tuner. So I've been using the Mark V with my Boss GT100. It sounds fantastic. I'm really looking forward to getting the Axe Effects, sitting down, spending some time, and making a really nice set of patches for that. So that'll be the wonderful combination of tube power with some incredibly high-end Axe Effects digital effects. So that's the story on the Axe Effects. The Mark V 525, as you can see down here, probably not very well. It's got some cool lights on it, as you can see. The front of it looks like this. Let me call this up. Basically, you have two channels, and in each channel, you've got a clean channel that has, we have clean, we have fat, and we have crunch. And on the distortion channel, the lower tier there, we've got a Mark II C+, a Mark IV, and the extreme, which I believe is the Mark V. I haven't even done enough homework to know exactly what that is. You've got your 5-band EQ, which can be taken in or out via foot switch. The channel switching is foot switchable, and you can switch between 10 and 25 watts. What's great about the 10 and 25 watts is, depending upon the room that you're in, however much volume you need, you can either crank it up at the 25 and really drive a 4x12 cab, or you can throw it into 10 watt mode and run my 112 mini recto cab that I have here today. So there's a lot of variation. I'm not sure, again, similar to the bass, you probably can't hear how great it sounds, but I will just play you a little bit. I'm going to flip it up into channel 1 here, and listen to this clean tone. So it's got this great tone. If I go to my second pickup back here on my serve, that total. So I kind of got a country tone. I flip in here, I'm in Mark IV mode. Tons of gain. And that's at a really, really low volume. So you kind of get the idea. It's a very much a powerhouse of an amplifier. And in a subsequent episode here, similar to Steve taking the bass head and the bass amp and giving it a nice proper demo with good sound quality, I'm going to do the same with the Mark V. And I'll probably do it with my Axe Effects to kind of level the playing field there. It's hard to do it with one mic in the room here.
But
Go ahead.
But at a low volume, it sounded great.
Yeah, you got the
Sounded
harmonic response, the whole thing.
And then I must say also that we play together probably at least twice a week. We do gigs together. And when you first brought this, I was like, all right, that's cool. And it's all in-ears. Everything is direct. And how much do guitar players love going direct, Mark?
Yeah, we love it. It's just not our favorite thing.
No.
I'm the one in-ear guy out and one ear guy in.
But I remember I kept forgetting to tell you how good it sounded direct, especially the clean sound just sounded so just brilliant and killer. I text messaged you. I was like, dude, I keep forgetting, but it sounded so rad direct. So it actually has a really good direct out, and it's a speaker simulated, or what
I'm
is?
going to show you the picture of the back here. If you look at the back of the amplifier to the far right, what you'll see is an XLR input. It looks like a microphone input. It's called cab cloning, and Mesa has done a phenomenal job with this. In fact, I bought this amp not even for this feature, didn't even really know this feature existed, completely wrote it off knowing that I've got my Axe effects and all that. But I showed up to church and my cabinet wasn't ready yet, so I showed up with just the head, and of course you get a new piece of gear, you have to play it. So I plugged into that cab clone, and I was absolutely floored. First off, like what Steve said about the clean tones. Mesa makes great amps, but they're known for heavier gain, heavier rock stuff, or some of the bluesier stuff. They have not always been known for their clean sounds. However, with their Lone Star and in the last 10, 15 years, they've done some great clean amps. The point is that plugging it directly into the PA and turning up the volume, having tubes go direct to house, I've never had that work. Never even thought it could work, and it sounded absolutely amazing. And you can see on the back there also we've got the effects loop on the far left there, the send and return. You've got a headphone output. You've got a spring reverb in the back of this little amp, which is super cool. And you can hook up multiple cabinets. You also have something special, is you have a on-off switch for the speaker, which is great because you can turn the speaker off and turn just the cab clone on. So if you're in the studio and you want to just have a direct line to the console, you can do that. Or you can have the speaker on and the cab clone on, run one line to the console and have another one mic'd up on your cab, blend the two sounds. So there's a lot of variations you can create with that. And on the cab clone, you also have two modes. You've got open back or closed back, and it changes the sound considerably. So I think Mesa really hit out of the park on this one, and I was pleasantly surprised because there was a feature that I did not buy it for that I'm using, and that's usually never true. Usually you buy it for some special feature that doesn't work, and then you're disappointed, right? I mean, has that been your case? Like, you go, they tout these incredible features it may have. You get home and you try, it's like, doesn't really do it.
Absolutely. It happens, and it's a bummer. But that, I mean, I play with, a lot of different guitar players, and the direct thing is always just one of those things. And when there's a couple of gigs that I'm actually running, and I had to let the guitar player know, like, dude, I'm so sorry, but we need direct. There's no amps. And it hurts me to tell them that. It's like, because bass players, you've been forced to that. We're forced to, but it's just a different thing, and it works. We don't go. I don't. There's some bass players out there, but we don't go from heavy distortion to super shimmery clean to it's basically big fat.
You guys are about just groove and just nailing it. We're about all the textures. So it makes perfect sense.
So, but it's killing, man. It's really good.
Is there any questions you guys have before we start winding it down tonight? Knowing that we are going to post these shows, you can reach out to us anytime via Instagram, via our emails.
Somebody did ask, and I just answered back about the GK MB800. I definitely still use the GK MB800.
What is it?
That's Galen Kruger. I know Galen Kruger. It's their little 800 watt Neo, kind of like this 800 watt little powerhouse of an amp. Love it. It's great. I still use it. It's awesome. This is just another piece of gear, more flavor, different flavor. It's voiced very differently. It's a little bit, the form factors have a little bit more of a natural punch, maybe a mid-range bump, and it's just different.
Is it similar to, say, like on the weekend, sometimes I want to drive my Bentley, sometimes I want to drive my Ferrari. There's times where I take my Porsche out. Is it the same thing?
I will say this, man, the GK MB800 is just it's a killing powerhouse of an amp. It really is. And like you said, well, I take the Bentley or the Porsche because the form factor. So it's up there. It's just a little bit. Yeah, it's just a little bit different flavor, but it is nice that this company is now coming out with an amp head to complement it. It would be just like Mesa Boogie making great cabinets, and then you're using a different head all the time, like Diesel or whoever else, and then it's like, oh, Boogie's coming out with a great head. Then you'd be like, Yeah, well,
You gotta check it. Yeah.
check it out. I also want to say that we do have a Gmail account. So for Pro Musicians Life, basically use promusicianslife@gmail.com. And that'll basically, we can answer that, both of us, or it'll go right
Let's
to
do
us.
this.
It's kind of cool.
What's the Facebook? We have Pro Musicians Life at Facebook, right?
Yes, we do. Pro
Okay.
Musicians Life Facebook.
We're gonna do on Facebook. I'm gonna assign this to you.
What?
We're gonna go online and we're gonna put one post that has the links to everything at our Facebook account. That way, we'll do the work for you. Just go to facebook.com/Pro Musicians Life. Is that what I don't even know what it is yet. We're so new to this. But honestly, the content is going to continue to grow. We're going to bring you a lot of things that you guys will want to learn, play, practice, and give you ideas on tips. Go ahead.
So Tom joined in late. He said, "Can someone tell me which Mesa head that is?"
The Mace. Okay, yeah, I can. In fact, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to try something I haven't done yet. I'm going to take your camera if you don't mind.
Yeah. Mesa Mark 525, right?
Mark 525. It's a week old. Here you go. Now look at this, dude. We're going live on the cameras.
We're riffing.
So it's a Mark 525. And you can see, look how strong I am. I'm actually holding this.
Let me see how heavy that is.
It is pretty light, right?
No, it's light, man.
It's really light. That's one of the beauties of it. So you can see across the front, we've got the toggle switches here on the top. This toggle switch up here gives us 3 modes in our clean channel of clean, fat, or crunch. We have our foot switch here to go between the 2 channels. Bottom switch, we have Mark 2C Plus, Mark 4, or the Extreme, which I believe is the Mark 5. The top row is the channel. It's basically your gain structure and EQs for channel 1. Your bottom row is EQ and gain structure for channel 2. These switches over here let us have the EQ on or off. If I turn that switch up, it's now putting this 5-band EQ into the chain, into the signal. On channel 2, same thing. It's already in there. And the 5-band EQ, Mesa Boogie is incredibly famous for that. And I just got my brand new cabinet. This came today. You can still see the tag. Check this out. This is very often. You got the tag hanging off the side.
It's still got the old tagger on it.
The old tags there. So at the end of the day, super cool amp. Here we've got the form factor we're talking about over here.
So let me talk about the form factor real quick, since why not? We're going
live.
We're going live here. So left to right, you have your input gain. You actually have a signal. It'll show when it's clipping, so you can set your input gain correctly. You have bass, treble. You have basically you can pick a mid-range point, which is rad. So you can pick your frequency, cut or boost it. You have a treble, and then here's your limiter. So you protect some speakers. Your master has a great mute.
That's awesome.
Which global mute you need it.
And people typically like it when bass players mute.
They do.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Not true. Not true.
You have an active and passive input. The active is going to be, I'm not sure what the dB, but it's less. It's lower gain. If you have a really hot bass, and that can be an active, or that can be a passive bass that's super hot. If you can't get this gain, if it's just hitting that front end too much, go into there. It's less. So I went passive because my jazz bass. Effects loop has a tuner out. It's just a great head. And then this is the Neo cab, as you can see, just a 112. It has a horn, and that was the gear. That was it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Let
I
me
like
see.
the idea. You know what? We need to get an extra remote cam like that. That was actually kind of cool.
That was very cool.
Let's not cut your head off there. Let's see.
I know, man.
All right. So with that, you guys, I think we're pretty well done. If you have questions, comments, complaints, or otherwise, you can hit me up, Marc Seal at marcseal.com. Hit Steve Araujo up at CaesarSteve@gmail.com.
And hit both of us up at promusicianslife@gmail.com.
Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Are we good?
Let me see here.
You're a chat boy.
Yeah, that was a low joke.
Oh, yes, it was low. I get it. Like bass low.
Nice.
Now, we truly appreciate you guys hanging out. We're going to post these shows. If you get a chance, tell other people about it. We're going to schedule our next event. We'll know when that is shortly. We're just going to kind of reconvene, watch some game tape like the Lakers, and hopefully do better adjustments than they do.
And like you said, we have a YouTube channel, so that'll be on YouTube, and we'll put some more stuff up there. But that was rad.
Yeah,
super
fun.
So fun.
Thanks for spending your Friday night with us. Pro Musicians Life. We'll keep it going. You guys have a great night, and
awesome.
we will catch you next time.
Have a great weekend, guys. Thanks, guys.
Take care.